Okay, let's get right back into things here. I just noticed one thing that I'm going to change here. I'm just going to bring these minerals back to my home world with my large deep space freighter, and then I'm going to head on to turn 6. Again, we could see our ships flying to their destinations in the new version here. All right, I've got 2 new planets, so I'm going to have a quick look at those. Those are going to be defining what happens. Wow, we got extremely lucky down here. This is something very good. We've got a huge supply of molybdenum at 68% density, but on top of that, we've got reptilians here. So we're going to be able to get double mining on this planet. So this planet suddenly became extremely important because as soon as we get 200 mines on here, we're going to start producing a lot of molybdenum, which is going to solve a big part of our problems. We've already got great titanium and germanium up here. We got great titanium here. So getting this molybdenum is going to start making it possible to assemble a lot of resources at this planet at Centuria, where I think we could start to produce a lot of heavy carriers at a fairly early turn. This other planet is also not too bad. It's got some germanium on it at a decent density, so definitely worth something there. We're going to want to develop that quickly as well. So I'm thinking that this new Falcon, which we just made here, is going to come over here to make the mines on that one. Where our large deep space freighter here is going to want to try to produce this very quickly here. So what I'm going to want to do here, 1,000 clans might be too many for this reptilian. It might be nice to take our large deep space freighter and also get going with this. So, but we do want to get those mines up as soon as possible, and I want to focus on that and keep that as sort of our primary goal as we get going, and keeping that in mind. So we could just choose to drop down the money, but we only have 500 mega credits on board here. So if we do that, then we're going to need to choose or decide how many that we can make. So we can make about 100 mines immediately if we beam down all of this stuff, and a few factories. So 100 mines and about 30 factories, and we could drop. We definitely, at this stage, we might as well just unload this freighter and head back, because we're pretty much dropping everything. So I'm going to set beam down money to get that money down to the planet, and we're just going to head back. I'll beam up some molybdenum right now off of this planet, or maybe some germanium, because we're kind of short still on germanium, and get ourselves going back with that guy. I think what we're going to want to do now is definitely send another large deep space freighter south, because we're short on clans down here, and we're going to need them in order to populate some of these other planets. The good thing about dropping that 1,000 clans down there, it does seem a little extreme, but we are going to tax those natives right down immediately to start generating some cash, and we're going to use the cash from those from that $1,000 that we can make down there in order to build mines on some of these other planets here. So it's not such a bad situation. Okay, at our homeworld, we've offloaded this stuff. A little bit that's come back, and again, we've got 2 large deep space freighters here and our medium deep space freighters, so everybody's ready to get loaded up and start heading back out with more clans. Again, we really want to maximize the number of clans that we're starting to send off to different areas. Because we've got 3 of these guys, maybe what we want to do is, we're definitely going to send one here, we're going to send one south. We might want to send one this way to go check out this planet. On the other hand, if we go this way, I'm just using the connections tool here to see the connection. I could go out to that planet, or I could go this way down to this planet. It depends if I want to build factories over here. I think I'm going to build the factories here when there's enough resources here to justify sending a large deep space freighter to pick this stuff up, which might be in 2 turns. I think. So possibly even this guy's going to come up and then come across to here to pick this stuff up on his way home. And then we'd throw a few factories onto that planet just to get factories going there. I like the idea of going this way because we have so much money being produced over here that all the ships that are going through this planet can pick up the money on their way out, and supplies without having to take a lot of stuff from our homeworld. Generally speaking, I want to have things going outward, and rather than back. I'm tempted to come down here and get this planet first with this large deep space freighter, and the only reason is that it's a little bit more connected. But there's kind of merits to both sides. But this is a little bit more connected and closer to where I think I'm going to be doing our production down here. So if I get mines going here, it's only 2 turns away from where I plan to build a lot of heavier carriers down here at Centuria. So I think I'm going to go this way first. I've got supplies, 300 supplies, which is a lot, and I'm definitely going to want to bring a good large amount of mega credits. I can only drop them in one place with the beam down money. So what I'm thinking is, as soon as I find a good planet, I'm going to want to drop, let's say 800, and that would give me enough to build mines, or let's do a little bit more for a couple of factories on board there too. So we're really going to load this guy up as the hope that there's something worth mining over here. If there's not, we'll probably carry on and look for a place that really can justify this drop of money and minerals and clans as we expand outward. This guy, I might need to bring him back to the homeworld in order to start getting some money back there. I have to see. As we look at what we're expanding here, I'm thinking that we are going to need to build a few more ships with 2 engines, so that I can 2 transwarp drive engines, so that I can tow some more things outward as we look to expand. So I would really like to do this, but there is a consequence here, because if I'm building this, this is going yellow, so it means I'm going to be selling some supplies in order to build this ship here. So whenever we sell our supplies, that's essentially costing us minerals. So if I were to build this ship, I'm going to be selling 465 supplies, which if we have a Merlin is going to be about 150 of a mineral that we might need that we could use to build some ships. So trying not to sell supplies is a very good thing. And that would be a reason for us to build a smaller ship right now and bring back some money. We're going to try not to sell supplies until we have to. So I'm going to go with medium deep again, and just build that. I'll sell these, or I'll bring these supplies back. So now we're only selling 81, which isn't too bad, and it's getting us going. Okay, once again, we've already got 200 supplies here, but we're about to spend those to get our mines going on this planet. And okay, yeah, actually forgot what I was doing here a little bit. I want to get 100 factories going on this planet as well, so we're gonna load this place up and build 100 factories here as well, so that we could get some factories for production. This does have an impact on our happiness as we start to tax down these guys. I'd like to actually create even more, but I still want to bring 200 supplies as we head out, so that we can start to really build up whatever planets that we arrive at. The medium deep, he can do what we just talked about. We're going to pick up. There's only 300 mega credits now remaining after spending all of that and bringing this. I think we're going to send just a little bit less with this guy. We're going to plan for 100 mines and 50 factories on something, so 550, and we'll bring that 699 back with the medium deep space freighter, just to get a little bit of money on our homeworld, so we can try to avoid selling the supplies as we expand. All right, great. So next turn, we're going to have these guys over there, but I don't think we're going to have enough supplies because we're only going to have 100 supplies there. So if one's going this way, we better bring a couple hundred supplies with us. And he needs some fuel. Fortunately, we're doing pretty well on fuel so far, so we're going to load that guy up like that. We definitely need another guy going south. So the new freighter that we just made, we're going to bring him south. We do have some supplies down here, and we are building some, but we might still need another 100 or so. So we're going to add that on. And we're going to bring some fuel. And once again, I'm playing this turn very fast, and that is part of my goal in this demo is to just play as quickly as I can. So I'll definitely make some mistakes as we go, but the idea is really just to kind of go through the thought process to get a sense of what I'm thinking when I expand outward as quickly as possible. And again, I'm going to send this medium deep north here. So the goal here, we're not going to build an optimal fleet with this approach, but we're definitely going to get a good build over time here. And again, it really all comes down to those mines. We need to just keep enough money going on to raise our tech levels as we expand. And that's why it's so critical to burn down all of our natives' happiness and even our colonists' happiness down as low as possible in order to get the most amount of money out, because we just need enough money to get by and spend on these things. But if we do a little bit of super quick calculation here, if we look at what does it cost to build a rush, which is our big heavy carrier at the Rebels. It's 242 duranium, it's 242 molybdenum, 170 here. So, just rough, we've got about 500, 600, so let's say 700 minerals that we need to build a rush by the time we put some engines and stuff on it. So just 700 as a rough estimate. If you look at what we're producing here already, these guys here are producing about 300 a turn. And down here with our new molybdenum, we should be able to put 200 mines on there, and we'll be able to comfortably make over 300 there as well. So just these two planets alone are going to get really close to being able to produce one rush every turn out of this starbase. So all I need to do is just pull enough money out of here to raise that to Tech 10, and then I could build a rush almost every turn. And so the earlier that I can get that started, let's say I can get that started by turn 11 or 12, then in our 25 turns to the ship limit, I'm going to be able to build 10 plus rushes out of that starbase. And that right there is one starbase producing 10 plus rushes. And if we look at, typical games, lots and lots of players today are not even producing 10 heavy carriers at the ship limit. And so anytime you start producing 15 or 20 heavy carriers, which I'm hoping that we can achieve, then you're gonna be in a position where you have an opportunity to win the game. And that's really what we want out of that initial 25 turns. So I'm gonna keep working here as quickly as I can. I'm gonna drop down. I'm gonna drop all the clans on here so that I can bring some supplies and some money over here. I don't have a lot to spare, so I've got to build my new Falcon, which is luckily very, very cheap. So I'm gonna build that, and we're gonna see here. I might need to bring down a little bit because we're just not going to have a lot extra here in order to get our mines going over here. So I'm going to bring a few clans. I'm going to bring the 100 supply, or well, not that many clans, a couple of clans, 100 supplies, all the money in order to try and get some mines going on this place here. So it doesn't make sense to bring it like this. I could build about 50 mines here. So we're going to bring 50 supplies and 50 mines, and we'll leave the rest behind. So we're going to build 50 mines here as we pop this out. I think what I might just do is I'm going to change my plan just a little bit. This guy's going to go here as planned. So this guy's good. And then I think what I'm going to do is just want to see how important this planet is going to be over here. It's not going to cost me very much, and I don't have a lot of Check that. I'm kind of low on fuel here. I didn't give myself enough. I could beam the fuel. I guess I will. Okay, I'm going to beam the fuel up off of here, and I'm going to fly over here at warp 6. And I'm going to leave myself one colonist just to be able to grab that. Actually, don't need to. I can bring a few more. So that guy's bringing enough clans. So actually, just going to drop one colonist here and fly over to there. So in the end, I'm just dropping one colonist here, and that Falcon's bringing over enough to get 50 mines going on there. And then I'm going to go over here and have a look at this planet with 119 clans available. So I can optionally drop those there. Maybe there'll be some natives, and that'll be that. So just checking on my planet ships here. Looks like I've given orders to all my ships. Building a medium deep space freighter and another Falcon. So again, I'm really not spending a lot of resources here either. I want to maximize those resources on the heavy carriers and nicer mid-range warships that I'm going to make. The Rebels are kind of a funny race because they really don't have a lot in between Falcons and Rushes as things that are worth building. So for the most part, you just want to build a lot of Rushes and Falcons, and then you'll have a few intermediate ships. Later on, with priority points, it can be really great to build things like Patriots and Cygnuses, particularly like Cygnuses, in order to kind of blow things up. But for the most part, you need power, and it's all about Rushes. So and then Falcons are hugely valuable in terms of jumping around and RGAing other players. Okay, so I'm just going to check on my planets now. I got one here that I'm taxing heavily. I like to grow my colonists still on these outbound things, so I'm just going to growth tax those guys, which means I tax them down to 70, and now I'm going to let them grow and let my happiness recover towards 100 before I tax them again. Meanwhile, I am still going to keep taxing these guys. I'm just going to have a look here if there's some small advantage. I could get a little bit more if there's something good here, like at minus 18, I can get a sort of a double hit here because I can get 2 tax rates at minus 18. But I think I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to go and tax them as much as I can because I'm going to start taking colonists off of this planet as I advance forward here. So I'm going to get all the money I can. This is going to take me down to 59 happiness. So I'm really looking at 2 more turns of this. So I've got about another 4,000 mega credits coming here. I've already spent a huge amount of this. I'm going to need to find some more natives to burn down as quickly as possible so that I can get the tech levels up on here. It's turn 5, so we have a few turns yet before there's too much pressure. So that said, I think we're done with turn 6, and we're going to head on to turn 7. Okay, great. Here we go. We found even more molybdenum down here at Frost, at P83, but no natives there. And over here, no natives either. So we're definitely going to be getting pretty tight on money. It's a good thing, perhaps, that we've dropped as much as we have here on Fornax because we can tax these reptilians. So again, we are going to tax these reptilians as much as we can. We want that money as fast as possible. We're going to need it to get more mines going on these other planets. So here I'm taxing them down. Well, first I need to build my mines to see exactly where it's going to be. So I want to build as many mines as I can, but I also need to keep some supplies around because I have to think here exactly what's going to be fastest because I am going to get 1,000 mega credits. So I can build some factories in order to give myself a. Just going to build. I'm going to leave myself 50 supplies. So I'm ending up with 50 or 100 factories and 50 mines. This is going to get me to 150 next turn, and then I can get up to close to 230 the following turn, and that's going to be a huge amount. So I think it's going to be a little faster to do it this way, and perhaps a bit better of an investment, because I need some supplies as well in order to get more factories going on these other planets. So that's my approach there. I can get 1,000 mega credits here, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to be able to use that money in order to get some of these other places populated. I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to send my Falcon down here. He's going to drop his colonist there, and then he's going to come back over here. He'll be able to pick up some of those supplies and some of that money from there to come back over here to Frost to build some more. So that's the plan for this guy. 5. Okay, here we've got this guy. He's arrived, so let's offload. And we're going to build 50 mines that we had planned here. And we'll come back and build some supplies here. I might build a couple factories because I have a couple of bits of extra mega credits here, and we'll just use those to do it. I'm just going to set the target rate on that planet, or on the factory, so it'll just auto build a few of those as we go. Just going to mark this one done for the moment. And this planet's not critical because although it has a lot of duranium, it is good. We have a really great source of duranium up here. We will get more mines going on here as soon as we can afford it, but we're going to have lots of duranium and other things coming in from other places as quick as possible, or fairly soon. So we're going to kind of count on that working out for us. Okay, our large deep has also arrived down here with a lot of clans and a few supplies. We're going to want to bounce also through Fornax in order to get the money from there in order to expand outward with the large deep space freighter. And this Falcon can think about either joining at that, or it could consider to move back and prepare for either piping out to somewhere else or heading back to just start doing some freightering. We are getting some mines built now, so what's going to happen here is these planets are going to start producing things. So now we're going to need these guys to start actually moving some minerals. This is kind of close to full, so it's about half full. I'm going to send him back. I could optionally wait a turn, which I would pick up. Yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. Just going to wait a turn here for those mines to basically fill this guy up so that he can fly back. Fairly simple option there. Over here, we're going to start producing already 68 molybdenum a turn. So this is going to start adding up pretty quickly, and we're going to need to start bringing this back. But we got about one more turn there before this becomes really relevant. Okay, so one large deep has arrived full, and we definitely need to go out and find some natives. This is getting very urgent that we find some more natives to tax. So I'm going to send him this way. Again, he can stop at Fornax to pick up some more stuff. Actually, a really interesting point. Could bring some supplies there. I've got 150 by the time I build my new Falcon here. Just going to see how many are left. So I'm going to build another Falcon. Now I've got 88 left. I could take those 88 with this guy down to here. And if I do that, what I could do instead is build, I don't need these factories as much. So I could focus a bit more on building, using up all that money to, I don't want to sell any supplies here because I'll get more, but I can get a few more mines here. So just producing a bit more stuff here. So what I'll do is I'll take the large deep space freighter and I'll get him to tow this Falcon down there. And then that Falcon can start to pick some minerals up and fly back. And we're getting already pretty low on fuel. So things are getting a little dicey on fuel. We're going to have to be really aware over the next little while. There is a lot of fuel available there. So I might need to go get that and bring it back over to here in order to start stockpiling the resources we need on this planet. So I'm going to offload the duranium here, And I do think I'm going to send this large deep space freighter over to here with just enough fuel, and then he can pick up what's going on here, which is going to be almost 900, close to 1,000 minerals. It's worth visiting with that large deep space freighter at this point in order to pick that guy up. I would like to build a few factories over there right now, but I don't have anything to do it with, so we're going to skip that. Okay, so with that said, we're going to go, we're going to consider those guys done, that guy's done, this guy's coming. He can bring more clans though, so we'll load him up. Let's make sure the large heap still has enough fuel. It doesn't. And from there, how much fuel are we getting down here? 85. Should be enough to keep us going, I think, but I better bring just a little bit more to make sure. And this guy is also bringing fuel. We'll beam up some more fuel there, so we should be good. Luckily, this planet also has a lot of fuel on it, so we're going to be in a good place there. Not really excited about this planet. I think what I'm going to do is just keep going. I'm just going to drop a clan here. I will be able to get mines built on this planet. Every bit of minerals is important, but because there's no major mineral source on here, no several thousands, if I wait until turn 15 to put 100 mines on this planet, I can still mine all the minerals out before turn 25. So there's no pressure to get mines here because I can still get those minerals out and maximize my mineral output, but do that later. I've got plenty of minerals coming out on these other planets right now, so I don't really need that. What I really need to do is find a home for these 1,000 clans that can tax some natives. So I'm going to head out and look for that. And the same thing with these guys. I'm going to head out here. I could go out here, and I might do that with this medium deep here. Going to think about that. So as I look forward to the north here, again, I want to bring enough stuff. Just looking at the planet here, I think what I want to do is again, maximize the mines and factories on this planet. It's a really good planet, and I can afford it right now. So I'm going to do that. And I need to be a little bit careful here now. I don't want to go below 40. Below 40 and I won't get any taxes. So I'm going to stop here at 27 and tax them minus 19. That's going to bring them to 40. Then you get another 2,000 mega credits. So right now I've got 2,000 mega credits. Now, what I could do, I need about 4,500 to raise the tech levels on Centuria. So I have a choice now. Either I use that 4,000 the next 2 turns and fly it down here to get my tech levels up, which will allow me to start producing rushes at a very early stage, or I can use these resources or this cash in order to build mines on some of these other planets out here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bank on using all of this money. I still would need to be able to get 1,000 a turn, and I'm only going to get about 500 a turn, I think, after I'm done here with these guys. So I'm thinking I need at least 1,000 a turn then still to build the rush each turn. So I haven't found the source of that yet. Could be burned supplies is one option in the early stage. Or I need to find some natives down here or over here as quickly as possible. So what I'm leaning towards doing, though, is bringing supplies out, but not bringing money this way. I think I'm going to keep the money coming back into my home area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait. My thought is I'm going to take this medium deep, fly out here, have a look at this planet, see how important it might be in case there's some natives on it, come back. And so in 2 turns, I'll have the 2 turns worth of stuff here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 turns. So in 4 turns, I'll be back at Centuria with enough money to raise the tech levels for my starbase. And that's turn 11. That's a pretty good time frame to get the starbase teched up to tech 10 and start building my first rush. So I can have a first rush built by turn 12. And I think that's a reasonable time frame. I could probably push it and sell everything and get it on turn 11. But I think it's going to be worth to wait an extra turn and have a quick look out at this planet out here. So I'm going to bring just a few supplies. I'd like to bring more this way. I'm going to change and not build the factories here, just so I can have a few more supplies in case this planet up here turns out to be interesting. So I'm going to offload and pick up those supplies, add some clans, and I'm going to bring a decent amount of money out to this planet to get mines and factories going out there. So just need enough stuff here. And this is going to allow me to build 50 factories and develop this planet easily. This is really the 400 that is going to come on the subsequent turn. So I need to be a little bit thoughtful about that. It might be too much. This is going to be quite tight to get my turn 11 together. And again, I would do, if I was going a little bit slower on this turn and playing through, I would take some time here and actually calculate out, to make sure that on turn 11 that I am going to have enough for that rush. And I would be doing that right now here on turn 7. 4 turns in advance, I want to make sure that on turn 11, everything is going to arrive at Centuria in order to build that first rush there. I'm doing this very fast, so we're going to see if my instincts are good on this one, and if we get lucky, it'll come together on turn 11. So I'm going to do that, and we're not going to bring any money with this guy going out this way in order to save that. I better bring a bit of fuel here just in case there's not enough at the next place from a beam up perspective to carry on. This should give me a pretty good odds. Same thing over here. I better beam up the fuel and do it. There's pretty good odds that I'm going to make an error here as I go forward, just because I am going so fast. I also have this guy. He could go this way as well and start bringing that money back. I've actually got 2 medium deeps over here. So it's not imperative that this is the guy that comes back, but it's likely to be a good idea. At this stage, I really do need to keep finding native life. Now that planet is within 2 turns of my homeworld. This planet I could be at a lot quicker if I go this way. My large deep is definitely going to come down here. I've also got 2 more planets. This one I can't quite reach, so I got that planet as well that I could get to in 2 turns, and it might be worth it. At this stage, though, you might be thinking maybe you don't want to show yourself out in space, and I haven't had to do that yet in this cluster, so that is something that you might keep in mind if you're feeling like there's some danger nearby. You don't want to be exposing yourself too early by popping out in space and showing yourself. So that's something to keep in mind. We've also got a lot of resources starting to come out on this planet here. My hope or my thought or my preference would be to pick that up with the large deep space freighter coming back. We're not under pressure at our homeworld for building what we're trying to build here. Let's see what we're going to build this turn. It might be a good idea to start thinking about something like a Tranquility, because we're getting to a point where we might need something just in case someone starts to show up. I don't think, though, that we can afford torpedo launchers yet. It's a little too expensive, and we really want to build that rush. So because we haven't found money yet, we're definitely going to gamble a little bit here. Another option would be to build something like Patriot, but we would have to be able to get fighters on it. So the problem with the Patriot as well is that it's really not good economically. It doesn't do us any good. So I like the idea of building something like a Sagittarius or a Gemini. The reason I don't like the Gemini as much is just it's much more expensive than a Sagittarius. Sagittarius is actually an extremely well-priced ship, and it can still build 30 fighters in 1 turn, and that can fill up a Patriot if I need to have something to deal with, like an incoming Nebula or some sort of smaller ship. I can deal with it, or medium style ship coming in, or a Cobalt or something like that coming, Catspaw, that kind of thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a Sagittarius, and we'll go from there and see how that treats us. It also has 300 cargo. We could use it to tow one of our Falcons down here. It's got lots of good options with it. So what am I going to do with these two guys? One option is to head out here, follow up that large deep space freighter, and see if we can develop some of these planets out here. I think that at least one of these definitely needs to go that way. 2 turns. I think I'm going to put him out in space and take a gamble that we're kind of early here and head straight over to that planet. I would probably set this ship to a point in space like that, and then just use the shift key to bring it over to here in 2 turns. And I'm going to take the other one, and I'm going to think about coming up here as well, just in order to start either building some mines down here or continue to follow. We're going to see what we're going to see. So we're going to learn a little bit more here as we go, and that'll be a good spot for him to be. So again, I'm just fill everybody up with clans. If this place turns out to be a really good planet, then I want to be able to bring 200 clans straight back out to there. So that's one reason to bring him that way. In fact, it's a good enough reason that I think I'm gonna bring them both to here, because I can easily bring 400 clans either this way or this way if there's natives, and then that would give me some options. So again, we really need to try to find money at this stage. Money is the most important thing. We've got really good mines going on already on a lot of these things. We probably have enough to produce 10, 12 rushes already. So we just need to work on getting money so that we can sustain that production by turn 11 and sustain it through the end of our 25 turns. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video after these 2 turns and make this one a bit shorter and see what the next 2 turns brings us as we head into the next stage of this. I hope you're starting to get a sense of what I'm doing. If you look at the score on a lot of games at this stage, if you look at us right now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planets. And on turn 7, a lot of players will have 10, 12 planets. They've definitely done a lot of scouting. They know a lot about what's going on around them, which is an advantage. But they haven't necessarily developed the planets already. They're not producing. Whereas we can see already that we are producing a huge number of minerals. In fact, between these 2 planets alone, never mind what's happening up here as well, we are producing enough to build a rush every turn. And so all we need to do is get our tech levels up. And when we start to build those rushes, we're not going to worry about building them as high tech. What the most important thing is that we just produce rush hulls at, Star Drive 1. Maybe if we're lucky, we can afford Nova 5 or 4s, some things that we can just wiggle them around if necessary. But the main goal is to have a sort of a heavy weight to our fleet. We can tow those ships to battle. The point is, once they're made, they're going to be difficult to destroy, and they're going to earn you priority points later by when they're fighting. So it starts to produce sort of a mass to your fleet that is imposing and difficult for opponents to deal with. So just going to quickly double check these things or the turn, and then I'll head into the next turn on the next video. Thanks.